Metal Gear Solid 5. Alright. I'm going to ignore that text. We're not even using that one. We're using this one. Spoiler-free review. I'm going to touch on story things, but not say anything that's actually has to do with the story. I know I'm on Twitch. Jesus. Ridiculous. Things I have to put up at. I have my notes here. We're going to pull up my notes. We're going to look at this because I'm a big Metal Gear fan. And obviously I was eagerly awaiting this game. I was actually extremely disappointed by Peace Walker, and I will go into that some other day. That's a whole other topic, because that game is the worst of the Metal Gear series by far to me. But played Ground Zeroes, loved it. And I played Ground Zeroes like a week before 5. I waited and kind of forgot about it. Loved it. Loved everything it did. It was the way it ended was so perfect. I wanted more, and I got a lot more. I got a whole fucking lot more in Metal Gear Solid 5. So let's start with the positives here. My notes. So the gameplay, and you can see it here. This game, the controls, the root mechanics of everything, how it works, is so well put together. There are so many options you can do. I'm really super stealthy, except for this scene where I just killed a bunch of people. And it lets you do that. You can go in guns blazing, you can go and be stealthy, you can do all these things, and it does it so well. There was often, towards the beginning of the game, when I was still kind of getting into the stealthiness, I would like to take a thing of C4 and stick it on something at the other end of the map, and then sneak around the other side, and if I'm about to get caught, I blow up the C4, and everyone goes over to the C4, and I go back at sneaking time. Stuff like that. That's shit that, I mean, that's stuff that in like another game, like in a Splinter Cell game, it would be like, go set up the C4. Okay, checks that mission objective off. Now walk over here. But it creates that for yourself. There's so many opportunities. And you do this because you go to certain areas over and over. Not over and over is the wrong term. A couple of times. Like there's this one airport you go to a couple of times. And doing that mission and seeing, like, I could have approached it from here, or I could have gone around the side of the fence and unlocked this door, and or I could have just blown shit up. It's unbelievable what they've accomplished here in terms of raw gameplay. Taking people, scanning them, and bolting them back to your base is really cool. And also, the game is beautiful. And the story that is there, I do like. I do like the story a lot. That's all I'll say about the story in the spoiler-free section. It's just a little. No, I'll say this too. And now we're getting to the negatives. The story is so intermittent. It is like, here's a mission that's crazy awesome story, cool. Irrelevant mission, irrelevant mission, irrelevant mission. Holy shit, this is happening, I can't believe it. Irrelevant mission, irrelevant mission. Like, it's all over the place. And especially, like I did, if you go and do side quests, there's gonna be no story and nothing interesting going on for hours and hours and hours. And you're doing these objectives where it's like, go capture this thing. Why? I don't know why the fuck I'm here. I'm just taking wet work. Or not even really wet work all the time. But I don't know why. Like, why am I doing any of these things? And then there'll be a mission of, like, invade this guy's thing and rescue this person. Like, this is a Metal Gear mission. This is an actual story-based mission. And that's more interesting. Obviously, that's a lot more interesting. And I wish there had been more story, and I'll get into that in the spoiler section, because there's a chapter 2 of the game, and I think chapter 2 does a better job, ironically, of being a Metal Gear game in terms of story, in terms of missions. But we'll go back. We'll go back here a second. There's a lot to say here. Side ops are great. There's too many of them. There's way too many of them. I spent so many hours. Oh, I'm gonna do side ops. 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 Too many. There's too many goddamn side ops, man. Also, the gameplay is great, but you have to fight things every once in a while. This is the same problem I had with Peace Walker. You have to fight the skulls, which that's all I'll say. They're super people, and the fighting them is awful. I did not like it. There's one mission in particular, I think it's mission 29, Metallic Archaea, that straight up almost made me quit the game. This mission was so frustrating. I wish I had bought it physically so I could have broken the disc. This mission is just terrible, and it's so poorly executed. And why the fuck am I fighting? I've been doing stealth for 30 hours. 30 hours I've been doing stealth. And now you're like, oh, maybe you should fight some dudes. No. Why should I fight some fucking dudes? I'm calling in tanks and the tanks aren't working. It's ridiculous. Finally, after hours, I get to that mission. And then the mission after that, really cool, really good. One of my favorite missions. And it's baffling. It is baffling how I've oscillated in this game several times between I fucking hate you and I fucking love you. That's not good. The game shouldn't make you bipolar. That's not good. Let's take a step back. There's these forward operating bases. This takes place before the Metallic Archaea, but a couple missions before. And you don't have to do it, but it does give you a forced tutorial. So I'm going through a mission. It's at the very beginning of the mission, and it says, you know, Miller comes on the telephone or whatever, comes on your beeper, says something, and oh, there's something going on at the base. We're being invaded. Da 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 da. Come back to the base. Okay. The loading. I go to the base. I'm in the helicopter. Okay, now I'm on my base. And now I got to take out the people that are on my base. So I'm going through the mission. I get to the very end. I'm trying to take the guy alive at the end. But I die. Oh, so what? I died. It probably auto-saved, right? It probably auto-saved like a couple minutes ago. I wasn't doing that great, but I was killing everyone. It doesn't really matter. I'll restart the mission. It'll be fine. No, I failed the mission. It bumps me right back to where I was in the overworld. Where I was in that mission I started. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just do that some other time. Then, in a stroke of pure luck, I'm doing this mission that takes place in that airport I talked about, and I have to run from that checkpoint 5-10 minutes to get somewhere. Then I'm sneaking around, and I fail it. There was no checkpoint. So then I'm back at the beginning again, and I do this 3 or 4 times. And it's just another point where I wanted to quit the game. Its checkpoints are either spot on perfect, no problems at all, or they're god awful terrible. And they patched it later. I don't know when. It's sometime I think in October. In early October they patched it to where it says checkpoint when it's saving a checkpoint as opposed to just saving random bullshit. But even that would not have saved this terrible, terrible run. So I'm frustrated. I'm super frustrated with this game. I do another mission, do another main mission, do some other stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll do that forward operating base mission again. I go to do it again. And then my computer blue screens in the middle of the mission. Because there's no checkpoints in this mission, I have to start the mission over again. And then I'm doing the mission again, and then I die. I have to start the mission over again. I don't want to do fucking forward operating bases. Why did you make it a mandatory thing that I have to do? I don't want to do this. Nevertheless, I do it. And I hate my life. This is not what I want to do. This is not Metal Gear-y funny time. And then I go, and a couple of missions go by, and I'm like, oh, this is a really cool one. Oh, this one was kind of annoying, but then it got really cool. And then we have another mission. And guess what mission that was? The one I was first talking about. The one that made me want to quit the game again. That's what's so wrong with this. It's like super frustrating, super awesome, super frustrating, super awesome. Then it's awesome, and then chapter 1 ends. And it's great. I love the end of chapter 1. And then chapter 2 begins. I do a mission. Now it's fine, whatever. And then it doesn't unlock any more missions for me to do. You have to do more side ops. And I do a couple more side ops and nothing's happening. Oh, the game didn't bother to tell me that maybe there's a couple of cutscenes you need to watch over in Mother Base. So then I go back to Mother Base, watch a cutscene, I leave. Go back to Mother Base, watch another cutscene, I leave. Go back to Mother Base, like, the fuck is happening? If you just want me to watch a cutscene, make me watch a cutscene. I like these cutscenes. I like what you're doing. I like what you're showing. I'm the biggest stupid fucking fan. I watched all those movies in Metal Gear Solid 4 and loved it. Loved every second of it. Should have made popcorn. And then you pull this shit where half the time I'm not sure if I like the game or if I hate the game. It's amazing. It's terrible. Part of the problem with the cutscenes is their inherent lack of them, but it's also that the story bits, a lot of the interesting story stuff. Why am I looking at the control? A lot of interesting story stuff is hidden away in these cassettes, and that's cool. I like the codec stuff, so it's nice to have something that reminds of the codec. But there's just a lot of plot here. I would rather watch a cutscene. I think I beat the game like about 60 hours. I would have rather played 30 hours and had less side ops, fewer side ops, and just more plot, more interesting things going on. I don't understand. Like, what am I doing in this video? Fucking just running around, and that's fine. That's great. These side ops are great. The world is phenomenal. But why am I doing all of this stuff? Like, this could have been, it should have been in reverse, where part 2 had a lot of time and filler, and part 1 was narrative story. But instead it's reversed, and it's really lopsided for one, and it doesn't make any sense. And okay, we'll get into characters here. Everyone's really cool, everyone's really awesome. Quiet is amazing. The problem with Quiet is that every time she's on screen, the game is like, hey, look, boobs. Hey, have you seen the boobs? Have you seen them? They're right there. Would you like to see them again? Oh, let's look at them again. And there's story reasons for her being so scantily clad, and I'm fine with those story reasons, and I'm fine with her being... she could wear a party hat on her head. I don't care what the fuck she wears. But why are you looking at her boobs all the time? It's just so childish and stupid. What you get... Like... This is the same game where it's like, yeah, cool action moment. Let's pause for a scene that looks like a fucking wallpaper. And then it's like, boobs. Let's do a pan up. Like, you'll do pan up of characters, right? And it'll pan towards her feet. It'll go all the way up her body, stop at her boobs. And then they'll, like, jiggle a little. And then it'll go up to her head. And I'm like, I don't need this. If I wanted to look at boobs, I can go look at boobs. I can look at any types of boobs I want at any time of the day. I am playing a game about a freaking crazy stealth man running around Afghanistan and Africa with a scantily clad sniper who doesn't talk. I want that game. If I want boob game, I'll go play boob game. I want Metal Gear. Okay, stop showing me boobs all the time. Doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I think that's about all I can say without spoiling things, because this game is great. It's a technological achievement, looks phenomenal. It runs phenomenal on PC. Take that, Batman. And it's great. And as a Metal Gear fan, I was satisfied at the end with all the story that finally happened. That's one thing too I forgot to talk about. There's no bosses. There's like 2 or 3 bosses, and most of the bosses are like runaway type of deals. That's disappointing because, as a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, bosses are a big part of that. But I can understand you not wanting to have bosses. It kind of doesn't make sense to have bosses in certain aspects. That's a personal preference thing, I guess. I would have rather than been... there's one particularly great moment where there is an awesome cutscene, like several awesome cutscenes, and a great mission before it, and a cool boss fight. And that's sandwiched between 5 hours of no plot, irrelevant data. Like, there's straight up hours of this game. And this could have been a Splinter Cell game half the time, because it has nothing to do with Snake. That's it. That's it. Everything else will be in the spoiler section starting right after this. moments away, because there's a lot to talk about here, and there's a lot of spoiler stuff to talk about. It's a good game.